everybody, so we're back talking some more Loki Season 2 on the channel with Episode 5, the penultimate episode of Season 2. And this season at large has been a pretty wild journey. I've been loving every episode. Episode 4, however, I think was my favorite amongst the 4 so far, especially due to the insane ending. You had Victor Timely turning into spaghetti, following that up with the loom exploding. But going into Episode 5, I had no idea what we had in store, but I knew for the most part I was going to probably be pretty excited. While this penultimate episode didn't exactly blow my mind or anything, I still thought it was a pretty solid development as far as the story is concerned, and for the most part, I don't know about you guys, but this episode gave me very heavy horror movie vibes. Just this overarching ominous tone, even in the opening with Loki back to being alone walking through the empty TVA, and he's beginning to time slip again. Something that was cool about this, and something we've seen before in previous episodes, is we're getting to see sequences that we saw earlier on, but from a different perspective, and they did that just here when he time slipped to a sequence we saw in, I believe, the first episode. Fortunately for us, after all the doom and gloom speculation this week, turns out none of these characters actually are dead. All of them were just displaced across various branched timelines. So poor Loki, he has no grasp whatsoever on how to control these time-slipping powers, so we're seeing him just go constantly across these various different branching timelines, pretty much at random, to try and figure out where exactly all of his friends are. Just overall, a decent storyline. Like I said, it is a penultimate episode. I figured we're going to be a little bit more exciting. But it was pretty interesting seeing where all these characters ended up in their various different branch timelines. You had Casey breaking out of Alcatraz, B-15's branch timeline, she was working as a doctor. No matter what timeline it is, it seems like no matter what, OB is just an extremely wholesome, lovable character. Cut to him buying his own books inside of a shop. But the most glorious timeline of them all was getting to see Mobius, and he finally gets his jet ski. That was something I think as fans we've been waiting for ever since it was brought up last season. At least in this branch timeline, he finally gets one, and even has children. He has 2 sons. He's a single father, which kind of is the MO of Owen Wilson as an actor. He's played a lot of single dads. I'm not sure whether you guys caught this or not, but one moment that I thought was pretty amusing was the fact that when Loki ends up in front of the store when he time skips, he ends up pretty much doing the exact same motions as that inflatable arm flailing tube man thing. As somebody who is a massive fan of the bromance going on between Mobius and Loki, I'm glad that the show continues to double down on that with this episode. How Loki tries to get Mobius to remember everything about their past in the TVA. You can truly just tell how over the situation Sylvie is, because everybody else has their own branch timeline where they don't remember what happened to them and the stuff with the TVA. Sylvie remembers everything. She just wants to be left alone, living her best life, working at McDonald's. An emotional gut punch when we have this conversation between Loki and Sylvie, and kind of brings up some moral dilemmas, some of which do hit you pretty hard emotionally, because Loki obviously wants everyone back with the TVA, whether or not he's ripping these people from their timelines or not. But truly, it's Loki's fear of being alone, which is not something I was expecting, but it did hit me pretty deeply. It's unfortunate that Sylvie's point about letting these people live out their lives in these branched timelines ended up being kind of a moot point. Once the horror kicks in again, and everyone in these branched timelines start getting erased. Between this episode and last week, it seems like this show really likes to play with your emotions as far as watching these characters that you like just get spaghettyified. Saw it last week with Victor Timely, which was, disappointing. I wasn't as emotionally invested in Victor Timely compared to watching Mobius get spaghettified, B-15, I suppose the main takeaway from episode 5 is the fact that Loki finally figures out how to control his time slipping, and he's going to be using that to rewrite everything, going back to the moment right before the loom exploded, which I have to imagine is probably going to go much more positively in the finale. It's going to be very interesting to see how we conclude everything next week now that Loki is able to manage his time skips much better and try and rewrite history to benefit them. Now I've heard my thoughts on episode 5 of Loki. Make sure you share your thoughts down below. What did you think of this penultimate episode of season 2? Did you like the episode? Did you not like the episode? If you have any predictions where you think we're going to go in the finale next week, share those as well. Because part of the fun is having that conversation with you guys in the comment section down below. And thank you guys, as always, for checking out videos. I always do appreciate it. Be sure to like on the video and also subscribe to the channel to update reviews, reactions, unboxings, and more. Next time, see you guys later.